Hey guys, it's Linz. Welcome to Lin's Soapbox. So Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts recently released, and I'm very excited to talk about this movie. I have a lot to say because I enjoyed this movie so much. I feel like I haven't been this satisfied with a Marvel movie in quite a bit. I think the performances were great. I think the story was amazing, and the credit scene. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the credit scene because it just brought this level of like excitement that we haven't felt in quite a bit, and I loved it. Let's talk about it. First of all, I do want to mention that I never doubted this movie once. Since we got that first trailer, I was really impressed because you could tell through the trailer. I've said this multiple times before, but you can just tell that the movie was going to have a lot of heart. It was going to make you very emotional, but it also was going to be very fun. You know, you could tell through the trailer alone, right? These characters were going to be going through it. Like, you could tell you were probably going to shed a couple tears, right? And of course, now that we've watched the movie, that's clearly exactly what the movie is. So it's made me really happy seeing people who have may not been too excited about this movie like actually really love it. Everything that I've seen from this movie, everything that people have been saying, like, it's been really positive, and it makes me so happy because it's just like, yes, the movie itself feels different. Like I mentioned, like I haven't been this satisfied with a Marvel movie in a bit, but also just the fandom. Like, it's fun, or it's nice to see the fandom be positive, you know? It's just, I feel like it's been a while. It's been rough. It's been rough, so it's nice to see that going around, and especially going into Doomsday, because the next Marvel movie that we are getting, apart from Fantastic Four, of course, is literally Doomsday, which is so insane. Like, in a year from now, we're gonna be watching Doomsday. What? I don't know. I think it's a perfect moment for everyone to be excited, and I think this movie was perfect for that. Okay, so now actually getting to the specifics of the movie. The first thing I do have to mention, I've literally been saying this, but I think it was such a perfect coincidence that this movie was released in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? Because a big aspect of this movie is the fact that it deals with mental health, with depression, with loneliness, all of that, right? I think that is so beautiful, because I feel like the way that this movie approached mental health and depression and all of that was handled in a pretty great way, and it makes me so happy thinking about all the people that this movie is going to help, because this movie was impactful, guys. Like, I was sobbing so hard, crying, you know, not only for myself, right, because I mean, it's things that I have struggled with, right, but also just thinking about how it's going to connect with other people. Like, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and I love it so much. And I love how this movie showed us the different types of ways that depression or loneliness or just mental health issues in general look like on different types of people. Because, for example, we got Yelena's point of view, we got John Walker's, we got Alexi's, and then of course we got Bob. And I think that's so important because obviously everyone is different. Mental health issues look different on everyone. Loneliness looks different on everyone. Everyone's dealing with their own stuff. And I think it was just so compelling that we got to see everyone's, you know, background, everyone's story. Like, I loved it so much. Also, flashbacks. I love the use of flashbacks in films, especially in the Marvel universe, because it's always so exciting to like see our characters at a different point of their life, right? And in this movie, obviously we got Yelena's flashbacks. We also got some flashbacks with John, literally with all of them, right? Because they were getting the visions from Bob. Actually, technically not everyone, right? That is something that I thought about. I was like, oh, it would have been so nice to also see flashbacks for Alexi and also for Ghost, and even for Antonia. You know, I know they killed her off immediately, but it would have been like nice to, it would have been so good to like dig deeper into her character. I will discuss a little bit more about that later. And then also, of course, Bucky, but I feel like we've seen Bucky's flashbacks like enough times in the MCU, right? So like, it didn't make sense to like waste time on that in the movie. And they did include flashbacks for Valentina, which I really enjoyed, right? Because again, it's like a younger version of herself. Her dad literally died because of her, right? Like, she mistakenly told these people like where they lived, right? And so I think that was really interesting to like learn more about her character in that way, and I wish we would have spent more time with that, but I'm glad that we did at least get that snippet of it. Also, I thought it was cool that we got to see the same actress that played young Yelena in the Black Widow movie in this movie, except obviously now she's grown up a little bit. Now I want to talk about the performances of literally everyone in this movie, because I feel like everyone was just great. But starting off with Florence Pugh. Oh my gosh. I love the personality that Florence Pugh brings to Yelena Belova, right? I feel like when I've been thinking about that character recently, I just think about the way that Natasha Romanoff, that Black Widow, was treated, right? I feel like we all know how mistreated Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff was. I really want to continue talking about this because the more that I've sat with it since the movie release, the more just fascinated I am by the observations that can be taken from the way that Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, was represented in the MCU in comparison to Florence Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. So interesting to me because these two characters are like perfect examples of how terribly a woman can be represented on screen, or how even just before women used to be represented on screen in comparison to like the potential of the way that they can be explored now and today. But going back to Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, like from the moment that they introduced her in 2010 in Iron Man 2, like they quite literally only used her to sexualize her. Like that was her main purpose, right? Literally for eye candy. And I do understand that she is a character, she is a woman that uses her sexuality to her advantage. However, that is not the problem whatsoever. The problem is that that's the only thing that they decided to focus on, right? And they never dug deeper, especially knowing that she is one of the characters with one of the most compelling backstories. Like she had an immense amount of depth that was never explored. And the times that they did try to give us a little bit more, like for example, the flashbacks that I talked about earlier, like those were literally crumbs, guys, crumbs. And do not get me started with the way that they depicted her in Age of Ultron. That's a whole other rant. But also like her solo movie, like I know that we did get her solo movie, but that movie itself is proof of the way that she was mistreated and essentially just the sexism, right? Because that movie was literally released after she died and years too late, right? And also the thing about that movie is they heavily used it to just introduce Yelena and these other characters like Red Guardian into the MCU, right? Like again, I love that movie, but unfortunately it happened too late. And like now moving on to Yelena, as I'm going to say in these clips that are coming up, like just the amount of exploration we have gotten of Yelena is just, it is so impressive. And like even the way that she is shot in the movies and the shows that we've seen her in, like none of it is sexualized, none of it is through the male gaze, and it is just, it blows me away. And I'm just so proud, guys, because I'm telling you, like literally as a little girl, like I recognized the fact that Black Widow was being sexualized, like the way that she was being portrayed. I remember it made me so uncomfortable because I knew what really was happening, right? And it's so cool to see just the progression that has happened in the MCU and throughout the years. Like it makes me so proud, especially now knowing how good Thunderbolts is, right? And Yelena is the lead. And seeing Florence as Yelena and just like the amount of depth that we've already gotten from her, and we only got her, like her first appearance was in the Black Widow movie, which is in 2021. Like it's only been a few years, but we've already gotten so much from her. And especially in this movie, like we got to dive deeper into her pains and her struggles, and especially her empathy, which is really what I want to talk about because I love how beautifully that was represented. So yeah, empathy. I feel like that's really what got me about this film. Literally any of the scenes where we got Yelena being the one to step up to like talk to Bob, to hear him out, literally be the only one to like try to understand him, literally made me sob. Oh my gosh. Like the little scenes of like, for example, when she literally, I think it was Bucky who said it. Bucky said something regarding John Walker about like his wife, right? And how his wife left him. And then Yelena, like we got a shot of like Yelena looking over at John Walker. She didn't say anything, but just based off like her expression, like you could tell that she like was like, oh, so like that's your story. Like that, I get it now. You know, gosh, oh my gosh, this movie, like I'm telling you guys, I was an emotional mess with this movie. And I feel like empathy, right? It's so important to care for someone and feel for someone. Again, I love that empathy was a big part of this. And by the end of the movie, right, all of them, okay, are we gonna talk about the scene? I feel like we're about to talk about the scene when Bob's literally going at it at himself, literally a metaphor for like beating yourself up when you're going through like a really hard time, right? And then I think it's Bucky who says it. I think he's like, oh, this isn't right. Like they start to realize like, oh, like the void is literally going to consume it. Like this is not good. And then Yelena is the first one to go, and then eventually all of them go and they're holding him back. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. Quiere llorar. I'm just coping with humor because no guys, like I still cry about it. Okay, we're back, but again, all of them run at him and they pull him back, you know, basically hugging him, and then Yelena's like, I'm here, you're not alone, or something along those lines. I don't know, she was saying something pretty beautiful, right? And how impactful, because that literally was basically the resolution of the movie, right? Like that was literally, they had to prevent him from being completely consumed from the void, help him out of that, right? Like sometimes all someone needs is a hug, especially given that we're talking about mental health here. Like that literally, like a hug could literally save someone's life. In this instance, literally that's what happened. And guys, I literally Christ that. So something else that I wanted to talk about was John Walker. Like, Wyatt Russell nails that performance, but I think this character is so interesting because it's a very specific type of person, right? He's really rude, he's mean, he literally is just unlikable, and the movie does get that across. Like, it makes it very, very clear. It doesn't deny that whatsoever. However, it still allows you to feel empathy for him, right? Because obviously he's going through things, and they are a direct consequence of his own actions, of the way that he is as a person. But again, that doesn't take away the fact that you can still feel for him, right? And it's like you're rooting for him in the sense of like, dude, I hope you lock in and you realize that like you can do better and truly just try to become a better person, you know? Because I think even in this movie, like, it proved the fact that like he still doesn't think he did anything wrong in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I think is a huge issue because he was partly at fault of that, right? I feel like I've kind of gone all over the place, but I also obviously wanted to talk about Louis Pullman's performance as Bob. Whoa. I love the way that he portrayed Bob. I loved especially the scene, oh my god, the scene, the watchtower, where I don't remember what the exact quote was, but I think she said something along the lines like, you're not a god. And then he was like, wait, but if you said I'm better than the Avengers, that includes a god. So that means that technically you know. So I love the explanation that they included for Sentry not like immediately killing off the Thunderbolts, which was the fact that like the Thunderbolts are literally no competition to Sentry, like nowhere near the same level. So like, why waste your time, right? Oh my gosh, I want to talk about Antonia. They did Taskmaster. They did our girl so dirty. They killed her off immediately. I'm pretty sure within the first 10 minutes. I know a lot of us already kind of knew that she wasn't going to make it, right? Because she's literally the only Thunderbolt that wasn't announced for Doomsday. And then, for example, in the trailer, she was in the Watchtower scene and then they edited her out. So it was like, oh yeah, this is not looking good. Not looking good. So the way that it was kind of like disregarded in a sense, right? Because it kind of like we kind of moved on from it quickly, which I felt was really, really harsh, especially after what that character went through in Black Widow. What we know is the backstory of that character. I feel like she deserved so much more, and I do understand that like it had to be someone, right? Again, it's very unfortunate, especially again because of that character's background. Like I feel like they really could have like delved deep into that character, and like it would have been an interesting type of representation, right? Because just the way that she grew up, the way that her father Dreykov took away her autonomy, that is so compelling. Like literally Dreykov's daughter, guys. Like we're talking Dreykov's. That would have been such an interesting character to keep because Dreykov is literally the worst of the worst. And it just broke my heart because I feel like there was no empathy for her. Literally, we were just talking about empathy, but I feel like for her, it was just like, oh, okay, oops, she's gone now. No. I'll say that scene that we got of her fighting, that was tough. That looked so cool. I would have loved to see more from her. Okay, guys, and I think now we can discuss the credit scene. Oh my gosh. The first one was obviously just for like giggles, but the second one meant business. It was literally directed by the Russo brothers, which I just think is super, super cool. I believe they said that they just filmed it like literally a few months ago. Not months, it was actually confirmed that it was filmed just a couple weeks ago on the set of Avengers Doomsday, which is like so insane. Also, the fact that it was filmed so close to the release date reminds me of the original Avengers 2012 film, where their credit scene was filmed literally after the world premiere of the movie. We got the Fantastic Four ship. Oh my gosh, when they said extra dimensional, I was like literally moving in my seat. Like I always watch Marvel movies opening night with my little brother, and he was also like moving in his seat. We have not been like that, reacted like that to a credit scene in a while. Oh my gosh, I miss that so much. That is so insane. Oh my god, it was like this different type of feeling because like yes, there's been other exciting credit scenes that we've gotten in the past years, right? But with this one specifically, like this one shows a clear direction, right? Because we know the next movie is Fantastic Four. So I love the connectivity that we have there, right? That we know that eventually it's going to get paid off kind of basically immediately, right? Depends, I don't know when exactly that credit scene takes place. It could be until like what, Doomsday. It's just so exciting because it hasn't felt like that in quite a bit. And it was just this whole movie, this whole experience, it just felt very much, again, I felt very satisfied basically. I cannot wait for July. I cannot wait for Fantastic Four and the whole marketing. Let's talk about the whole marketing behind this movie, right? Because the whole asterisk, that whole thing, you know, this entire time, that was never revealed, never leaked. leaked up until, well, until the movie released now. And I can't believe that they really did. Like, literally, like, what the asterisk basically means is the new Avengers. And the fact that they did not use that to market the movie is so insane to me. Like, obviously now, I mean, I'm recording this on Monday, May 5th. And actually today was when they started like changing all the marketing and actually mentioning the new Avengers in the marketing. However, up until what, yesterday, Sunday, like they hadn't mentioned any of that. So I think it is such an insane decision, right? Because Avengers, like simply adding that to a title or literally anything, like it makes it so marketable, and saving this little surprise, I guess, until after the movie dropped is just whoa. Like that is commitment, but I love it. Guys, I think that pretty much wraps this video. Again, I love the movie. I'm so excited, very, very excited for Fantastic Four. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see Yelena again. I'm so excited about the fact that she basically is the lead of this group, right? I cannot wait to see her in future things. I feel like Florence Pugh deserves it so much. Yelena, everyone loves Yelena. I love the way, again, the way that they've characterized her. I feel like she's just the perfect person to lead, right? And it's gonna be very interesting to see these Avengers versus, not versus literally, but like, you know, versus Wilson's Avengers. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see how that all plays out, right? Because again, in the credit scene, we saw them, Bucky and Sam are arguing. The girls are arguing. So we're gonna see what happens eventually with all of that. It's gonna be very, very interesting. But again, I love the movie. I hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, do all of the above. And if you want to follow me on my other socials, it's at Lean Soapbox. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.